What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for College Hill Celebrity Edition Season 2, Episode 6, and the episode is titled The Breaking Point, you guys. So, before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, if you guys aren't subscribed yet, do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your post notifications. And with that out of the way, you guys, without further ado, let's discuss College Hill Celebrity Edition, shall we? All right, guys, so this episode was almost an hour long, and I don't know why it was almost an hour, because there was a lot of scenes in here after the fight with Amber and Jocelyn happened where it was just them just filming. But this episode, we are, remember in the last episode, they did the homecoming game. So if you guys remember, last week's episode was homecoming on top of the midterms, right? So there's talking about what happened the night before. So this is Parker talking as well as Iman, and then Jocelyn joins them. So you guys remember in the last episode that after they got home that night, Jocelyn didn't go to the game, but she was back home and, they were playing the music, and she didn't want Amber to have the aux cord because she didn't want to hear the music that Amber wanted to listen to, right? So I talked about it last week, and I said how I felt that I did think that it was really stupid that Quay was, making such a big fuss about the aux cord when Amber herself wasn't making a big issue of it. So if Amber didn't find it to be that big of a deal, I don't understand why Quay made it such a big deal, right? But Quay, he went to apologize to Amber, and I guess they made up with each other, right? So Tiffany came in the room, and they were talking about, they feel like the room is haunted, right? Because they were talking about dreams they have. Then we did see them at that night where there was a knock on the door, but nobody was there, and all that kind of stuff. All right, you guys, my bad. My cousin was texting me, so we're back now. So, I think we were talking about Amber, Tiffany, and Quay. Oh yeah, with the room and how they had to knock at the door and all that kind of stuff. It was funny, and Ray J like, who you gonna call? Me. Yeah, Ray J is a character. He's funny. He's funny. He is funny. He is funny. Like, I ain't gonna never take that away from Ray J. So it's Halloween. So we see as they're getting ready for school, right? So everybody was dressed up for Halloween, and it was hilarious, right? Iman's character, whatever he was dressed up as, I don't know what it was, but I cracked up laughing because that was all you saw at one point in this episode, right? Was Iman's Halloween costume. So in one of their classes, they talked about the civil rights movement, and they were talking about how at one point, I guess like all the black leaders came together, and they had a conversation with, I guess, some white people, right? And the conversation was that they would put money into the school system, but they wanted to keep segregation around. And I was like, wow, very interesting, right? So the question kind of was posed to the group: would you guys, if you were there, what would you guys have done? Would you guys wanted to say, let's keep segregation or desegregate things, right? And it was very interesting that Jocelyn said that she would choose to keep segregation. And I was like, wow, that's very interesting that you would choose to keep segregation, because even if they said they were going to do something better with the school systems, it would still be a situation where it's colored and whites only. And when you look at things in the history, the things that were for colored peoples, it was not the best. The restrooms, you had to go through the back. Like, she said keep segregation, but we wouldn't be able, like, the things that the luxury that she has now, the things that we as black people have, we wouldn't be able to do. We would still be going in the back door of restaurants and the back door of department stores and everything. We would be getting scraps. We would be getting nothing. So the way that the way that she looks, getting her makeup done, the clothes she wears, she wouldn't be able to do that, because if there was still segregation, we would be nothing. Like we were treated as basically second class. Not even, I wouldn't even say second class citizens. We weren't even treated as human beings. So I couldn't. When she said she would choose to keep segregation, I was like, really? That's interesting that you would choose that. I knew, I kind of got what her point was. Black people would be with black people, white people would be with white people. I kind of knew what she meant, but I was like, when you just overall think about segregation divided, like it had the blacks against the whites, right? Well, the whites against the blacks, right? But we were treated as nothing, sitting at the back of the bus, having to get up when a white person gets on the bus and take your ass to the back, things like that. I don't know why she said that, and it's very. I would have loved for her to expound upon that, but it is what it is, right? So they went to their next class, and this is where we're gonna pause and move forward. So in the next class that they went to, it is the one where they had to do when they were doing their it's an African American literature class. That's it. So they were reading. They read something from Langston Hughes, right? Where Langston Hughes, Orion actually read it, and it was just basically talking about the beauty of black women. Because back in, I mean, let's just think about it. In those days, they considered black women to be ugly, unattractive, right? But the interesting thing is, for even with the slave masters and with the racist, they found black women to be ugly, but they had no problems with the R word with black women. But it just goes to show that it wasn't about their beauty, it was about what was between their legs. But I don't want to go too deep into that, right? But I do love that it was just talking about the beauty in black women, right? So this is like the catalyst with Jocelyn and Amber. Like, I got where Jocelyn was coming from. I absolutely did get Jocelyn's point of view. So when Jocelyn was talking, she was saying that, she was just basically trying to talk about how beautiful black women are, right? And I'm okay with that. But then she talks about how, she thinks that black women are more prettier than the whitey whites. And so she turns around and she looks at Amber and she's like, oh, well, and Miss Amber's white, but you mixed. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I got what she was saying. She was trying to uplift and talk about how beautiful black women are, but at the same token, you took a dig at white women, and then you singled out Amber. So Amber at this point got up and walked out the class, but she took a few minutes and then she came back, right? So then they talked about racial mountains, right? And in a sense, racial mountains are how the professor was how she described it. It's like, you had this on your shoulder, and kind of how we move in our lives, right? You know how people say, oh, you got to act like this in order to be accepted into certain spaces, right? If they see you like this, they're going to perceive you this way, right? Because Tiffany talked about, most people look at her to be the angry black woman, and she's not that, right? So I remember Ray was talking about how, with him being in the tech space, how when he used to go into the rooms, they expected him to look a certain way, but he came in as himself. And I think that that's one thing when it comes to, how we always talk about code shifting, right? How, we as black people say we code shift when we go for job interviews and stuff like that. We flip on that switch, and then after that interview's over, we're back to our normal selves, right? So in a sense, that's basically what they were talking about. So Amber talked about how she doesn't really fit into black spaces, but she doesn't necessarily fit into white spaces as well. And I knew what she meant, right? Because when she, it's like she's explained it before, that when it comes to being around white people, and she the way she talks and acts, they see her as, they look at her as one way. And then I'm gonna use Jocelyn as a perfect example. When Jocelyn was talking about Amber's music, that's that, y'all, how people say, especially when it comes to biracial people. Let's not pretend like people don't say this. Oh, that's her white side coming out. Oh, that's her black side coming out. Like, so it happens. So I got exactly what she was saying, right? So her and Jocelyn were, going back and forth at one point, because the thing that bothered me with Jocelyn is she tried to tell Amber how to identify, because she told Amber that she is a black woman because she came from her black mother. Then Amber was like, "But I'm white. But my dad is white." She said, "But you see, that's the thing, Miss. That's the thing, Amber. You want to be a white girl." And I was like, "I don't think that's what it is. If you've listened to Amber this whole season, Amber has stated that, and here's a thing when it comes to biracial people, right? There are some biracial people who are, have a black mom or a black dad, or a white mom and a white dad, right? And there are some people who say, you know what, I'm black. That's all I know is blackness, right? But at the same time, there are people who do have that identity issue where I am black, like I have a black parent, but I also have a white parent as well. So for me to say that I'm completely black is basically erasing my white parent, right? So I understood where Amber was coming from. It was Jocelyn. I think Jocelyn was antagonizing her. Like, she was definitely antagonizing Amber, and unfortunately Amber got up and she swung on Jocelyn, right? So this is where BET Plus kind of lost me at, because y'all showed this fight in the trailer, but then when we get to the episode, out of respect for ASU and everything, y'all decided not to show the fight. And I was like, huh? What the fuck? They decided not to show the fight, right? And okay, cool. I don't really care about who won or not, because I don't think Amber was wrong, and so was Jocelyn. Jocelyn antagonized Amber. Amber should not have gotten up and put her hands on Jocelyn. Period, point blank. However you guys feel, that's how you feel. Now, I do want to say something real quick, because I have been seeing this going on all day on social media and since the episode aired. So everybody keeps talking about, oh, well, we know Amber is black. Like, this is the situation of two mixed people. You guys, Amber is definitely, my bad, you guys. There was an Amber alert that came through and knocked my camera completely out. But Amber is 100% mixed with black and white. Jocelyn is not mixed. Like, ethnicity and race has a lot of people in a chokehold, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, Jocelyn has always gone by, she says she's Puerto Rican. I mean, she calls herself the Puerto Rican princess. You guys do know she is from Puerto Rico, right? That is why she calls herself the Puerto Rican princess. Puerto Rican is not a race. Puerto Rican is an ethnicity, right? That's like someone saying, oh, I'm Haitian, Canadian, Jamaican, Lebanese, Chinese, Guyanese, African, whatever else. That's not that's an ethnicity, not a race. And as even the professor so eloquently put it, race is really not a real thing, you guys. It's not a real thing. It is something that was used to divide, and that's exactly what it is. Because technically, there's only one race, and that is human. The only difference is we all have different skin complexions, right? We are either you're white, black, and that's really it. You're either white or black. Now, you can be a white Hispanic, you're a white Asian, you can be a white whatever you are, or you can be a black whatever. Those are the only colors. There's no other color. So yeah, race and ethnicity. So yes, Jocelyn is a Puerto Rican woman, but she's also a black woman. Like, she's black, and y'all say she's only claiming black when it's convenient for her. No, she's always said she was black. I mean, you can look at her, right? I think a lot of y'all, because I saw somebody else bring up the argument, well, Evelyn is Afro. Evelyn used that when it was convenient for her because people got tired of her saying nigga. So yeah, we can't use that. But yeah, so I've saw that argument all day about race and ethnicity. Jocelyn is black. Amber is biracial, right? Amber's biracial. I don't know. I think that's what she identifies as, is biracial. I'm not identifying her, but like I've been saying this entire season, that Amber definitely does have some identity issues, and that's fine. I hope that she finally is able to, work through those issues and, be a happier person for herself and her kids. So they put them in a hotel room. It's so funny because Jocelyn was on with Norier talking about she whooped her ass, right? Now, granted, we don't know what happened because she said she said she whooped Amber's ass, and that she gonna fight her every time she see her. I'm like, but if you won, why do you want to fight her every time you see her? And granted, if she did walk up on you and just smack you in the face, but I noticed that Jocelyn didn't want to be when she got back to the house. She didn't want to be filmed at all. She didn't want to be filmed, and she said that bitch scratched her face. She said that bitch fight like a white girl, whatever that means. Because I know some white girls that swing like, they know how to fight. So I don't know what that meant. I don't really care who won. Again, like I said earlier, I don't care. It was just it is what it is, right? So Tiffany is flirting with Orion, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, "Don't you got a man at home, girl? How's this gonna work out for you when you get back to your husband, your fiance? Good luck to you, sis." So they got their grades. Everybody is doing good in school, with the exception of Quay, right? Quay gotta step it up, and that's really the episode, you guys. We saw as Amber and Jocelyn are going to meet with Dr. Petty next week. They were going to meet with her at the end of this episode, but it's going to go over into next week's episode. But that's really all I got for the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, you guys, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.